Lately, I am finding myself cleaving more and more to the simple life that we have cultivated here on our homestead. I heard someone say not too long ago, maybe on Instagram, but I can't remember. They posed a question. They said, I wonder if it was really meant for us to always know everything that's going on in the world. And that really stuck with me because I am a news hog. I love to watch news. And it just seems like lately, though, I have to have intentional times where I turn it all off and focus more on the little world that we live in here on this little property. No matter what we do, and no matter how bad things may seem in this big world that we're living in, I think it is more important now than ever before to have a little world where you have peace, contentment, and you feel safe. I'm not the type of person who, by any means, lives in a fantasy world that there's not bad things going on. Obviously, I see the news, and I do know, that it's pretty bad sometimes. What I watch. In fact, let's just call it what it is. It's depressing lately to watch the news. But having those moments, having those places, whether it be your home or maybe a friend's house or a family's house, just anywhere where you can just put all that behind you and focus on what's happening in your little world. Because ultimately, you really only can, I don't want to say control, but it's up to you what happens in this place. It's up to you if it's a peaceful place. It's up to you if there's joy and laughter. And it's just something that I find myself guarding so strongly right now. And I just wanted to share some of what I'm doing to take my mind off what's going on in this crazy world.
What you think so shit pellets? Maybe there's some protesters on there. Oh, no, I don't think that.
So we've been getting a lot of garden peas, and I've been canning them about every 2 days, trying to keep up with those so that we'll have them for the winter, because we only have one jar left from last year's canning, and I wanted to get ahead of that. But little tasks like that, I spend a lot of time in prayer and meditation, and I try my best to, anytime I have a task like this that's a little monotonous, because I've been doing it every few days, and it's not something I have to put a whole lot of thought into. I will sing or just pray and try to find something in that time that builds up the joy in my heart. I think that a lot of times if we get too wrapped up in what's going on outside our four walls, that it will creep in to the peace and joy that you have within those four walls. And that's something that I just excuse me, I just can't imagine letting that happen, because this is the only place other than church. Obviously, church is a very peaceful, joyful place for us, and it means so much to have that. But you spend so much of your time, or we do anyway, if you're like us, home. And home is the place where you should feel the least amount of stress, the least amount of angst, and you should feel that, I'm home. That is something I have fought for years. I want my home to be a place where it's just so calm and so relaxed that every time we are gone, if it's even for 30 minutes, we always say when we pull in the driveway, oh, it's good to be home. I know that sounds ridiculous to some people, but to me, it's everything. It just means so much to me. But I don't know. I'm looking at our food production this year. I'm looking at just the tasks that we have, the projects that we have, and I just feel more than ever, drawn to it than I used to be. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. You're watching me struggle to get this cap on here. It didn't seal. I shouldn't have forced it. So I froze this jar because it didn't seal. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Just finding those moments for me is so important. And what I have found that it works for me when there's craziness going on all over the world is be home as much as possible, because it's that one place where I don't deal with what's going on outside, and it just it's like a safe haven for us, and I wouldn't give it up for anything. The peace and the joy. If somebody said, I'll give you $1 trillion, but you won't have a peaceful home, then you can keep your money. So, because the money doesn't make me happy. The peace, the joy of the Lord and His mercies, that's what matters to me. And in our little humble home, that's worth more than $1 trillion to me. All right, baking, of course. I bake all the time. I'm making a brand new recipe here that will soon be up. Check the description box. If I happen to put it up, I will have it down there. If not, just keep an eye out. I'll try to come back and post it on here. It's just a summer sourdough bread with lemon and rosemary, fresh rosemary. So refreshing. It's one of those breads that's really good, buttered with toast. I made it with a mixture of hard white wheat and hard red wheat. I had someone ask me the other day, how am I going on with my stiff starter? I love it. I will never go back to a thinner starter. I don't have to feed this starter hardly ever. Just whenever it gets really, really low, then I feed it. And it is good for like almost 2 weeks, maybe even more. And I'm loving it. And I will not go back to the other. So, but baking, yes, baking is one of the things that brings me so much peace. Another one of those tasks where I can meditate, pray, sing, things like that, and get my mind on what really matters instead of all the distractions that if we're not careful, and I'm talking to myself here, I fell into this, recently, actually. If we're not careful, the outside world will start creeping into your mind, and you start getting concerned and things like that. And what I found out was that what's going on outside, God is in control of all that. He's in control of what's happening here. But for me, I just want to deal with what's going on here and not have my mind trying to wrap around what's going on everywhere else. A side note, someone asked me how I get my yogurt so thick I strain it. I really, like 10 minutes ago, before I started doing this voiceover, ordered one of the standalone yogurt strainers. I'll show it to y'all when I get it, because this bag is years old and it's starting to fray a little, and I'm afraid my yogurt's going to start dripping through. So I did get that ordered, and I'll share that with you when I get it. So to make this sourdough bread with rosemary and lemon, I just put, after about 2 or 3 stretch and folds, I add in the zest of a lemon. Now, I have on the blog to add in the juice from this lemon as well. I forgot. But it is better if you do that. But the zest, the juice, and then after about 2 or 3 stretch and folds, I add in the fresh rosemary and the lemon zest. And it just makes a really bright and flavorful loaf of bread that's perfect for summertime if you are if you love those fresh flavors of spring and summer. You are going to love this loaf of bread. I ended up letting this ferment on the counter a little longer than I wanted to. I got into some things and totally maybe let it go just a few minutes too long. I think it was the canning in between. I think, I got a little preoccupied. But I put it in the Banneton basket, and then I noticed I didn't have room in my fridge. I eventually made room in my fridge, but I was looking in there and I was like, what am I going to do? And then I got thinking, okay, I got an idea. I recently got, you all know if you've watched my channel long, that I have to have an ice machine. Well, recently upgraded. Jebby sent over a bigger model for me. It's a little over, not over, but I wish I would have called it before. But I got this ice machine that holds a lot more ice. And in the summer, that is a non-negotiable in our home. We have to have an ice machine. The one we had was so small, and it was constantly refilling. And this one holds a ton. And so what I found is put some of that ice in a baking dish, and then put something to, shield the moisture so it doesn't come up into your Banneton basket, and sit it on top of that covered, and it makes a cold place for your dough to rise, because this time of the year it is so much quicker in my kitchen anyway with the heat. If you're interested in my ice machine, I will leave a link in the description box. And let me tell you, there is nothing in my mind that is more important in the summer than having an ice machine for those iced coffees and frappes, and sitting around laughing, talking, and enjoying the peace and the joy that we have in our little world here on this tiny little homestead. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Be looking for that recipe for the rosemary lemon bread. I'll see you back here next time, same day, same time. Y'all take care.